If you like your OE Modular Front Bumper on your 2021 or newer Ford Bronco, but you wish it was a little bit more capable, this RedRock HD Winch Plate with the bull bar for the OE Front Bumper is a perfect solution. Now this brings a lot to the table with its winch capability, additional protection that it provides with the bull bar here, and recovery solutions, while also being an affordable choice, which is great for the Bronco owner who wants the additional function for their OE Front Bumper without paying dealer premium. Now it's also a complete bolt-on solution, so you can up the versatility of your Bronco without having to make any modifications if you don't want any hassle when it comes time to install it. Now the biggest feature here is the ability to add a winch to your factory front bumper with a solid frame-mounted system or a trustworthy recovery setup. Now this accepts any standard bolt pattern winch with up to a 12,000 pound pulling capacity, which allows you the choice of whatever winch you want to pair with this for more of a custom feel out of your Bronco. Now this also has sporty red shackle mounts on each side, which are a great recovery point for the front end, and they also add a tougher appearance with the red and match with any other red accents that you may already have on your build. And this is also helpful when it comes to protection for the front end, thanks to the overrider bar here, adding some grille protection and some uprights in the front, which add a little bit of outward protection. Now this bull bar even has mounting locations for additional lighting, so you can take this a step further when it comes to customization for the front end of your Bronco. Now this is made of a cold-formed steel construction, making it high tensile in strength, perfect to protect the front end and act as a solid recovery point, and the material is also very smooth and clean, which matches that factory modular front bumper very well. Now on top of the bull bar is a two-stage finish using an epoxy pre-coating and high-grade matte black powder coating, both there to prevent any rusting over time and to, of course, match the factory front bumper again. Now as I mentioned, this is also a direct bolt-on installation requiring no modification in order to add this onto your front bumper, and it comes with all of the required hardware in order to do so, as well as maintain the factory sensors so you don't have to sacrifice your creature comforts or your safety features when upgrading your factory front bumper. Now this is about $400, making this an affordable choice when it comes to a winch solution for your factory front bumper. In comparison to other solutions, those would either require modification in order to add a winch to your setup or to swap out the bumper as a whole. But if you want to avoid both of those issues and get some additional capability along with a winch plate, this would be more for you. Now this is also a fraction of the price of the Ford OE winch kit and allows you to choose whatever winch that you want to pair with your front bumper rather than being locked into a kit. So I think if you're looking to save a couple bucks and have a choice where you can customize it specific to your needs on your Bronco, this is a great option to choose. Now install here is actually fairly straightforward. Add a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it really should only take you about 2 hours or so to get this installed on your Bronco with some fairly basic hand tools. Now at this point, I am going to hand it over to one of our installers here. They are going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can get this bolted up. So that wraps it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
For this install, you will need an impact, 10, 13, and 15 millimeter sockets, a 6 millimeter Allen socket, and a small pry tool. Today we're going to be doing a winch plate on our Bronco, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory bumper, and we'll see you when you get back.
So our first step is to remove our skid plate. Now we have 4 bolts. The front 2 we need to fully remove. The back 2 we can just loosen and then slide this whole skid plate forward. So we'll grab a 15 millimeter socket to take these out. Next we can come to our tow hooks, and we have 4 push clips that we need to pop out, and then we can pop off this cover. So I got a clip remover tool, pop these off. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we need to remove our 3 15mm bolts on each side. Now I'm gonna leave one in just hand tight until we have a buddy and we're ready to take this off, because we do have a harness on the other side that we can't access until we get the bumper slouched forward a little bit. So I'll take my 15mm socket and get these out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can disconnect our bumper harness. Now the connector is going to be right above the bumper on the driver's side. We have a tab on the front that we can press in and disconnect. So now we're ready to remove our front bumper. I've got myself a buddy. We're going to remove the last bolt that's holding it in on each side, and then we can remove our bumper. Next, we can remove our 4 8mm bolts that hold in our shutter assembly. So we'll grab an 8mm socket to get these out. Now for the two up top, we're gonna get those out with an 8mm ratcheting wrench. And then with those removed, we can pull back on our shutter assembly. And then we just have a harness up top and a bunch of clips that we need to disconnect to fully remove it. So now we can remove our connector. We have a red tab that we need to pry up on. And then we can press in on our tab to remove it. And then we just have a bunch of clips that we can pop out with a clip remover tool. Next, we can come to the back side of our frame horns. We have a plastic nut on each side that holds in our 3-nut plate. So we need to remove both of these nuts, and then we can remove our plate. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So now if you have a bumper with no parking sensors, you're done with the uninstall at this point. If you do have the parking sensors, now comes the fun part of basically taking every bolt out of this bumper. So we're gonna start with our 13mm bolts and our 10mm bolt in the middle to remove this inner bracket. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side and move on.
All right, welcome back. Now that we have our recovery points out, we're gonna reinstall our bumper mounting points. So we'll get those back in and reinstall our 4 13mm screws around the perimeter. Once we have those in, we'll bring back our 13mm socket and tighten these down. Once you got this side back on, you can do the same thing for the other side. So our next step is going to be to relocate our center parking sensors. So what we're going to need to do is take a small pry tool, pop out on the prongs holding our sensors in place. We'll get those out of their seats, unplug them, and then pull those out of the way for now. And we'll do that for both of our center sensors. So for demonstration purposes, we did pull our bumper mounting points back off. This might make things a little bit easier for you to get down to your sensors, so you can do this step before you reinstall your bumper mounting brackets. It's not completely necessary, but it does make things a little bit easier. Now we can get our sensor out. You do want to be careful with these, but once you have it out, we'll push in on our tab and unplug our sensor. Once you have this one out, you can do the same thing on the other side. So our next step is going to be to install our extender harnesses for those center sensors, since we are going to be relocating those. So we're going to take our factory style plug and plug that into our factory harness. Get that lined up, get that snapped into place. Then we'll install the other side as well. So now we're going to take the other end of that harness that's going to plug into our sensors. We're going to route those back through the factory sensor holes so they can come out for where they're going to mount now. So we'll tuck these back through. And once you have the first one routed through, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now that we have our extension harnesses through, we'll reinstall our bumper mounting brackets. We'll tighten this back down with our 13 mil socket. And you can do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to get our bumper loosely reinstalled onto our vehicle. And what we're going to do is reinstall very loosely the 3 15mm bolts on one side of our bumper. We're going to leave the other side off so we can install our new brackets. Then we'll come back, remove this hardware, and do the same thing. Now we're going to install our first mounting bracket for our winch plate. We're going to get this lined up with our bumper mounting points. We're going to reuse our factory hardware to get this in place. Now once you have your first 2 bolts in, you want to get your outer bolt in, and then we'll repeat the same process for the other side. So now that we have our mounting points and our recovery points loosely in place, we're going to set our winch plate on. It's better to do this while your hardware is loose so you can adjust this if needed to line up your mounting points for your winch plate. Now that we've got our winch plate placed, we're going to use our provided 6mm Allen head bolt with a lock washer and flat washer. We'll get our top ones in first to secure our plate. You may need to move this around a little bit to get your bolt started. Once you got that first one loosely on, you want to put your other top screw in, and then we'll come back for the rest of our hardware. Now we'll install our 2 side mounting bolts. They're the same thing, 6mm Allen head bolts with lock washers and flat washers. Once you got these 2 loosely in place, you want to do the same thing for the other side, and we'll come back and tighten down everything. Now we'll tighten down our hardware using our 6mm Allen socket on our impact. As you can see, once you start tightening, that's going to bring everything in line. Then we'll tighten down the other side as well. Now once you have your winch plate tightened down, we're going to come back and tighten down our bumper mounting hardware. You want to adjust this to where you want it to sit. We'll grab our 15mm socket and tighten these up. And we'll do the same thing for the rest of our hardware. Now we can install our new parking sensor mounting bracket and our factory parking sensors. So they're going to go right here. Just slide that into place. We're going to install our sensor from the back side, lining it up with the mounting tabs that are factory style. You may need to push this out a little bit to get this in here initially. And lock that into place. And once you have that in, you can plug your sensor in. Lock your tab in. And you can tuck or push your wiring back, any excess behind your bumper, or you can just tuck it up out of the way, whatever is most convenient for you. And you want to do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our RedRock HD Winch Plate with bull bar for OE bumper for your 21 to current Bronco with modular front bumper. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Bronco, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.